Okay, so we have some review on algebra first. So talk about some vocabulary. So we give an expression here, a half x plus 5xy plus 3 minus b cubed and then plus 3. So this is an expression. So what's the difference between an expression and an equation? Expression, there's no equal signs, okay, and equation with an equal sign. Very easy to distinguish between them. So that's the expression. There are a couple of things here. So polynomials or variables. So what are the variables in this expression? Which is the thing not number? Okay, which is not number? We have x, y, and b. They are the variable, or called the polynomials. And the next one are what are terms? What are terms? Half x, 5xy, 3 minus b cubed, and 3. They are all called terms. What can be the coefficient? Well, half will be the coefficient. 5 can be the coefficient. Well, also I can say -1 can be the coefficient, the negative b. Okay, the negative b. So -1 can be the coefficient as well. Constant term. 3 is the constant term. Power term. 3 minus b cubed is the power term. Well, order of operations, we will always calculate bracket first, and then we talk about the power, and then we do multiplication or division, and in the end we do addition and subtraction. So that's the order for calculations. We know distributive law, a times b plus c. Well, we learned that when we're trying to expand binomials. So that's ab plus ac. We have a times b minus c. That's ab minus ac. We know that. The next one is evaluation. Okay, the next one, evaluation. So a equals to 4 and b equals to 5. Evaluate 1/5 b plus 2a squared minus a plus b over 3. So 1/5 b, 1/5 times by 5 plus 2 times a squared, which is 4 squared, minus a plus b, which is 4 plus 5 divided by 3. Well, we can calculate 1 plus, that's a 16, power first, 16 times 2, which is a 32, and minus numerator first, which is a 9, 9 divided by 3, we get a 3. So that equals to 30. That equals to 30. It's just simple substitution questions. Okay, simple substitution questions. Alright, next one is what we can do for simplification. When we have, well, this is not really simplification, it's how we write things can make life a little bit easier when we're trying to do simplification. We have multiplication and division sign. We're trying to not to write those two signs. We're trying to put things like times is just like 3a. 3 times a is just 3a. And divide by b, we write that as a fraction over b. Okay, we most of the time don't write divide. We now all start to use the fraction, so over b. Like terms can be collected together. So if they have the same variable, okay, say all same polynomials, and they have the same power of the polynomials. So for example, if I have a for this one, I have a and a, okay, 1a. So for both of that, they are like terms. For example, that one, we can see we have AB squared, but for the second one we have 2B and 1A. That's AB squared as well. Then there are like terms as well. AB squared. And for the last one, I want to ask for the last one. What's the coefficient for 4xy over 5? What's the coefficient? 4 over 5 is the coefficient. So it's 4 over 5 x times y. Okay, it's 4 over 5 x times y. I can put xy on the numerator, but also can get it like down from the numerator. So the coefficient will be, except the variables, what's the number left? So if you hide x and y, we have 4 over 5 left. That's the coefficient. So that's 4 over 5 xy and 2xy. They are like terms as well. You can add them or subtract them together. Okay, what we can do when we're trying to simplify things. The first one is when we have common factors that can be cancelled from the fraction. We have common factors we can cancel from the fraction. You can see here, we have 14 and 21. 14 and 21, we have a 7. So we can divide by 7, that's 2, and that's 3. We have a squared and we have a. So we can divide by a. So the square just gone, and then the a get cancelled from top and bottom. For the top one, the next one, we have b and b squared. The b can just divide from top and bottom. So what we left with is 2a over 3b. But there's one thing we can't do. There's one thing we can't do. Just be careful with that. If we have 3a minus 4b divided by ab. Well, let's say just divide by a. We can't, okay, everyone listen here. We can't do, where's my paper? We can't do this. Okay, when there's a minus or plus, there's not one term. The numerator is not one term. I can't just simplify things with one term only. Okay, if every single term contains a, yes, I can do that. I can divide by a. But now in this case, I can't divide a. Why I can't divide by a? I'll show you. We can divide or times a number on both top and bottom to keep the fraction as the same. If I can divide a here, and I need to also divide a on top, right? But this a can only be cancelled with the 3a, not the b. Is 3a divided by a and 4b divided by a. You can't simplify it. You can't simplify it. If you only cancel the a and a here, you only consider about one term. You only consider about one term, not the other one. So when there's plus minus sign on the numerator or denominator, you can't just compare one term with the other term. Why we can do like in this term? Because there's only one term for the numerator and one term for the denominator. That's why what we can do. So we can't do this one. We can't simplify it. Next exercise we'll talk about how to simplify that, but not now. You can think about the next one. If we have fraction over fraction, that's something we don't like as well. We have x squared over a half x. That's what we don't like. How I can get rid of the 2? Well, what I can do, let's say what I can do to get rid of the half. How can I make a half disappear? Times by 2. Well, if I can times by 2 on the bottom, I need to times 2 on top as well. I will times 2 on both top and bottom. The top give me 2x squared. The bottom will give me x. And then that's just a 2x. That's just a 2x. Alright, next one. Multiply numbers together. Okay, so we can always multiply numbers together. For example, this one we have 12xy. For this one we have 2abc. 4 times a half, that's 2. We have 2abc. We better write letters in the order. Okay, in the order from alphabetical order A, B, C, D. Okay, next one. We can multiply the same variable together. We can multiply the same variable together. So we have, first is number, -6, -3, and -2 and 3. And then we can have loop. W. We have only one W. And then we have to look at Y. There are 3 Y's here. 1 Y and then 2 Y here. So 3 Y in total. And then we have a Z. So the answer will be -6WY cubed Z. WY cubed Z. Also, we can collect like terms together. So what are like terms? Like terms are, they have same variables and then the number of variables are the same. So that's like terms. That's like terms. So we can say 3AB and 2AB, they are like terms. What we can do is, we have 3 candies and 2 candies. How many candies we have in total? 5. So that's 5AB. Okay, for the next one, why I ask you to write things in the order, alphabetical order? Because I can see it very clear whether they are like terms or not. So 4xy squared minus 5xy squared, they are like terms. Okay, they are like terms. Well, you have $4 and I borrow $5 from you. How much you left? -1. Okay, you owe me $1. So -1 left. So what we have is minus xy squared. Well, you don't need to write the 1. We can just say minus xy squared. Alright, I want to give you 5 minutes to work on the following 3 questions. Okay, I want you to simplify it and then give me the answer for the next 3 questions. Well, next 2 first. Factorize we do together. Just this one. Simplify it. Simplify the answer here. Okay, the first one. A lot of you write this over that, which is wrong. Why that's wrong? What's the operation order? Tell me what's the operation order? What's the first thing? Bracket. What's the second? Power. Okay, let's do things one by one, okay? 2b times 3ab. Minus, okay, bracket first. So when you expand the bracket, what is it? 9a squared b squared. And divide by bracket 3ab in the bracket. That's what you're trying to divide. Minus ab squared plus 3ab. I can just go for 3ab. After that, what's the next thing you need to calculate? Bracket, power, multiplication, or division. That's the multiplication, that's the division. Well, there's no more. We need to calculate that first. That's a 6ab squared minus 9ab a squared b squared divided by 3ab. That's a 3ab left. That's 9a squared b squared over 3ab. That's only that term over that term. Not the whole thing over the other thing at the back. There's no bracket here. Okay, if there's a bracket, yes, that's that over that. But there's no bracket. It's only the short term, small term that over that. And then we have minus AB squared plus 3AB. Well, minus 3AB and plus 3AB, they just get cancelled. That's 5AB squared. 5AB squared. Not like you can't evaluate this because you put the 3 terms over another 3 terms. That's the problem. And I see half of the class did the same thing. So really pay attention. I think when I ask you, you will definitely tell me, okay, the calculation order will be multiplication, bracket, power, multiplication, division, and then add or subtract. But when you actually see the questions, you may not doing that. Okay, so be careful with the calculation order. Okay, the next thing is, okay, what I can do here is expand. So 8 minus x squared. What's 3x minus 9 divided by 3 gives you? X minus 3. So 3x needs to be divided by 3 and 9 needs to be divided by 3 as well. So what we can write is a 3x over 3 minus a 9 over 3. That's what we can write as well. Plus 5x minus 5 minus 6x and what x squared? Plus x squared. Okay, plus x squared. And you can see here, x squared and x squared, they get cancelled. Positive x, positive 5x, and negative 6x, they get cancelled. And 8 minus 3 minus 5, that gives you a 0. So that's just a 0. Okay, factorized. Well, before we do factorize, I want you to expand everything first. So 14x cubed, y squared, and z minus 21x squared, y squared, and z squared. That's after we learn indices, right? And then we look at what we have in common for both terms. A 14 and a 21, what we have in common? 7. How many x we have in common? 2. So we have x squared. How many y we have in common? And how many z we have in common? And then the bracket is what we left. After you took out those things, what we have. So we took a 7 from 14, what we have left? 2. And you have 3x, we take 2x out, you're left with x. Y just all take out, left with 1. Okay, left with 1, not left with 0, left with 1. And then you have 1z, you take 1z out, you're left with 1. Okay, you don't need to really write it, so that's 1 times 1. Minus, you see the second term. 21, you take a 7, what do you have? 3. X squared, you take out x squared, you're left with 1. Y squared, you take out y squared, left with 1. Z squared, you take out a z, what do you left? Z. So you're left with a 3z. That's the factorized form. That's the factorized form. Alright, I'll stop here today and talk about more tomorrow. But you need to be very careful on this calculation. I will highly recommend you to revise on this calculation, which I can see most of us got the problem with. Okay, so think about why you get it wrong and how you can stop doing that.